Mike from around the world. Are you there?
Pastor Paul, I'm right here. Good to hear you tonight.
It was really strange. The phone started ringing, but it wasn't ringing. It was musical chimes. I don't know what that's about. Maybe you know what that's about. I don't know. Is that another set of ears out there listening?
Well, who knows? I'm sure somebody's listening.
Yeah. Mike, great to have you tonight. How you doing, my brother?
Good to be here. I'm doing okay, Pastor Paul.
Good. Well, Mike, last week you did a great job and explained to us about this secret clause or this extra clause that really nobody knows about, and that President Biden could be removed, and a council could actually be in position to be the executive branch. You did tell us that we would see things really happen, and boy, we really have. And the press conference tonight did not make President Biden look any better. What's your thoughts on what's happening now, and what's the truth? What do you see, or what do you already know is going to be happening in the next week or so?
Well, as expected, Biden is quite defiant because he can't realistically see what's happening. He doesn't realize what's happening. I'll put it that way. He probably feels within himself, he's the best. He's best qualified to represent that party. However, we're coming close to one of those outward decisions. They like the guy, right? He has a lot of colleagues that like him, but they're going to have to make a painful decision. Now, medically, if he is deemed unfit for that job, they don't want to do that because that would ruin his entire legacy, and that's what they're trying not to do.
Right.
But if he becomes defiant, and more and more people are calling out to say remove him, there are 200 in that party, of which a great number of them have come forward, and I believe it's 16, 18 have come forward publicly. But there's a whole lot more. Even Barack Obama said the same thing.
Yep.
So, but he can't see it. And when you have a individual who cannot see his own health condition, it takes someone external to apply something, a little bit of force from that medical field to have him medically removed. They can do that. They don't want to do that. That's somewhat of a scar, but it may come down to that. If he can't be convinced, and he has a window, if he can't be convinced, they will move some sort of motion to have him, medically reevaluated. And if that happens, he's not going to make it. Right? He's just not going to make it.
He did make tonight, and Mike, he did. He doesn't believe that he is not capable to do the job. He doesn't believe that. Right. I could tell that. But he did leave a door open. He said when the convention comes, if they want to run somebody against me and put them in, then they can do that. So he opened a door tonight. He did open a little door. He don't think they'll do that. But he's saying, that's the democratic way. If they want to do it, they can do it then. So they may be going, and he did say that if the doctors tell him he needs another cognitive test, that he would submit that. So but he also said, but make Trump do one too. Okay. So you think there's a little bit in him that's starting to think, well, the pressure's just building. And do you think his wife in any way or family is saying to him, hey, look, Joe, maybe we should bow out?
I don't think they have said too much yet. He's by nature competitive, right? He's very stubborn, very resistive. And I think it'll come down to someone really telling him, right, that or having to take action externally. The Republicans will be involved in this. This would be congressional powers to do that. And so they're going to come together, and they may have to do that. The world is not exactly in a very sound place right now. And it seems like, Pastor Paul, that not only is something happening with him, but across the board, across this entire globe, something supernaturally coordinated on the dark side is happening all over the place, right? Because
Amen.
we have problems here in America, but they have problems in every other country likewise. It's falling apart at a very fast rate, and they're trying to hold up the appearance that everything is okay, but it's not happening that way, right? Riots are we're just days away from some major riots in quite a few places, quite a few countries, and because people are extremely dissatisfied, and there's a mentality of the people in America right now concerning Joe Biden. People are, even in Congress, they are mad. I mean, they're mad. Um, nobody has ever witnessed, Congress is upset. They're mad. I mean, they're mad. They're real mad. And
Yeah.
so
I've just read.
things are going to break loose.
I'm showing a headline. Angry and stunned Democrats
Yep.
blame Biden's closest advisors for shielding the public from the full extent of the president's decline. They're mad. And that's what you're saying. They're angry. They're mad.
Yeah.
And they want something done.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? You would think that would just be here in America, right? Nope. It's overseas. It's in France.
Yep.
Same thing is happening in the UK. Same thing is happening in Germany. Same thing is happening in the Middle East. There are major problems all over the place. That's why I said it was almost seems like it's coordinated supernaturally.
Do you think, Mike, and I'm glad you're bringing this up this way, and because last night when I was on with Pastor Melvin Whittington on the Getting Ready show, we talked about the fact that there was this turmoil, within England, in France, the EU, in Israel, the Iranians, the Americans. They're in Canada. They're calling for Justin Trudeau to resign.
Yep.
So do you believe that maybe the spirit of the Antichrist? When the world gets so dissatisfied with their governments, doesn't matter if they're liberal or conservative or what they are, or monarchies or democracies or republics or whatever. This whole world, you're saying there's a spirit happening. Is it the Antichrist? Is it the preparation of the beast?
Well, I'll tell you what, they had a ceremony, a global ceremony about, was that a couple days ago? So I wouldn't be surprised if those who are believers in Christ felt a bit off.
What
lately.
ceremony?
Almost like there's an opposition. Well, they have these secret ceremonies, right? It's kind of like the Olympic ceremonies, but they are secret ceremonies involving leadership of the globe. But these, listen, they had Moloch. They had a mock sacrifice there. They had a mock appearance of Lucifer, right? 1,000 points of light. And he is, every time they have these ceremonies, he is like a savior. But this time they had, the light was passed to all countries. His light was passed to all countries.
Wow.
And his light was the new light dawning, right, in their ceremonies. And so I suspect something. All these countries are going through all of this, including us. It's almost like a supernatural squeeze is being put on everything. It's quite evil. The Olympics is coming up, right?
Yep.
Now, normally with the Olympics, they will magnify an ideology. I mean, every single time they do this, they magnify an ideology. Yeah,
you're right.
They'll have little elements in there that magnify their ideology. Isn't it ironic that this would happen at this time, right before the Olympics? And when the populace views the Olympics and they start to see these ceremonies, what mindset will they be in to see something they've never seen before, right?
Yeah.
In the Olympics, because they're very good at making these presentations to reach the youth. It will affect the youth in a big way. This is going to affect the youth in a big way. I can tell you that much. And the youth and the populace, they're the ones causing this resistance of government in a very big way. This is going to be a nail in the coffin, so to speak, when they come out with this. So I believe it's supernaturally coordinated. I really do. I believe that there's some serious forces involved, and everybody is being primed to accept a brand new ideology. And by the way, to usher in a new system, right, and to have everybody fully adopted, you have to prove that the old system does not work.
Is broken.
That was a theme I used to talk about many years ago, right? Because it was happening with social media. The borders were taken down. Well, they're doing it now. You know,
Yep.
they have broken down. All these systems have been exposed to be non-functional in the mind of the populace, right? This is deeply organized, but I don't believe it's organized by any one person or a group. I think it's spiritually organized. I think what we see happening here is coming from, you know, darkness directly to humanity.
Yep.
We just live in that time. And while this is happening, we're going through the worst climate episodes anybody has ever seen, right? In was it on the West Coast? It maintained above 125 degrees.
Yep.
For you know, what, 5, 6, 7,
It
8
hit 120
days,
and it hit 120. It almost hit 130 in Death Valley. I think it was 129.5 or something. Yeah, but
and
it maintained, like you said, over 125.
Yeah, and that's with a formula applied. And what I mean by that is, you know, that temperature is an average. It's not a real temperature. That's not what that is.
Okay.
The real temperature is normally, it fluctuates about 2 degrees hotter than what they're reporting, 2 to 5 degrees hotter. So they take a overall average, right? They do an averaging or a formula of just like averaging to give that temperature out. Well, overseas, it was over 130. And some places,
what?
Up to 140.
Are you serious?
Yes, 140. It was so hot, no one could walk in the sunlight. That's how hot it was.
So in other words, there's a correlation between the weather, the apocalyptic events, and this global uprising among governments, and then these secret ceremonies. Were you talking about the Bohemian Grove?
No, not
so
that.
Can you tell us? Can you tell?
Well,
sure.
it's almost just like the Olympics, right? The name is often changed as to what the actual group name is. The group name goes with the theme they have.
Okay.
But they always have this evocation ceremony, and it's in a very close-knit community, but it's a global community, right? I'd say possibly maybe 1 billion people are involved, right? That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. They watch the leadership. They watch these games. These games they celebrate Satan. They celebrate Baal. They celebrate, you know, Moloch. They celebrate every demonic entity that you can imagine. They celebrate them. And the bull is always represented in these ceremonies.
Yeah.
Which
is Baal worship. I mean, that was Baal worship.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
So you're saying
they have mocks.
Go ahead. No, you're saying they take a combination of Moloch and Baal and different pagan gods and do some kind of or do they select a theme in certain ones?
Well, normally all of them have the role, and they ultimately bow down to the dragon or Lucifer. And then that dragon turns into a light, and that light is put within a person, and this person rises, and everybody bows down to the individual, right? This time it's global. Wow. So they have a handle on what's happening, just like the church has a handle by the Holy Spirit of what's happening. So they have a handle of what's happening by, you know, Satan's imps. They have a handle on that too. So they're highly in tune. It is the opposite of the church. It is you're talking about the richest people on the face of the earth, right? The most influential people on the face of the earth. And when they start making decisions, it just happens, right? So these guys are, this is a spiritually coordinated darkness at a very high level. It's happening, but it's also reflecting in the earth. And when we start having deep movements within the earth, right, that people can see, that NOAA reports or something like their sensors pick up, these are not man-made things. and it will be followed by more shifts in the earth. I wouldn't be surprised, Pastor Paul, if we actually had a major destructive event within weeks. I would not be surprised.
It's interesting you bring that up. We had a 7.1 earthquake early this morning in the Philippines. We had a 6.6 in the Cascadia subduction zone. Actually, they first said it was a 6.5 and a 6.6 a minute apart. Now, later they changed that and just said it was just one, but it was very shallow. It was in the Cascadia subduction zone. We've had bitter cold. There's rivers that have completely frozen over in, I believe it's Argentina. So, I mean,
that's going to get worse too. That freezing, when you're in the desert, right?
Okay.
When you're in the desert's hot. So in the morning, right, you could, in the morning sun, it could be 90 degrees in the sunlight on the left side of your body. On the right side of your body can be in the shade, and it can be 32 degrees. Do you know that you can be frostbit on one side while you're burning up on the other? Right.
Wow.
So the more direct sunlight you have, the more of a temperature shear that you're going to have between the two temperatures. So it is that type contrast takes place. I remember my first time in the desert, Pastor Paul, freezing cold at night.
Yep.
And as soon as the sun would rise, it would burn your boots, burn your pants, and your backside would be frozen. You just turn around in circles, trying to
warm up,
adjust yourself. Yeah. And it will be just like that. It was snow in the nighttime in the desert, in the Middle East, and in the daytime it'd be 112 degrees.
Yeah.
So as soon as the sun would rise, that would happen. And sometimes in the evening, while the sun was going down, it'd be hot in the sunlight, freezing in the shade. Right, water would freeze in the shade, literally, just like that. So you're talking about a cup sitting about 3 inches away from sunlight, and the cup would freeze. Yet you could fry an egg on a rock where the sunlight was still reaching.
Crazy.
It was just like that. And so as we continue to go through these changes, this is going to become more and more apparent. We're going to have half the world burning while the other side freezes. It'll seem like it's no in between.
You've been saying that zone. For years. You've been saying we're going to have extreme heat and extreme cold.
That's right.
And we're going to have straight line winds that are going to be, monumental. We've already had a 300 mile an hour tornado this year in Iowa, and this hurricane, when it finally did hit Houston, you can see the damage. I mean, the flooding and 2.5 million people without power. There's still 1.5 million without power. But this storm went all the way up to West Lafayette, Indiana. It went right up to Indiana, and it knocked the power out. And there's flooding up in Indiana, and it's crazy from the same hurricane. Unbelievable from Jamaica, all the way around.
Yeah. And what's so sad? That wouldn't be considered a major storm compared to what's coming. Compared to what's actually starting to form, because the ocean temps are rising big time. You
mentioned that ice sheet last week, the size of Nebraska, and I thought I got to come back to that. Can you talk about that some more?
There are, Pastor Paul. That's a real danger. It's no mystery that the ice is melting. It's just not a mystery. What a lot of people don't know is the ice is melting from the bottom up also, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at large ice sheets that have been held up by thick ice down at the bottom of the seafloor, right? It's eroded. The waters are heating up. It's eroding away. That has been the support system for all the upper ice. Now, when it breaks, it's going to drop possibly 100 feet in seconds.
Wow.
And you know what that would cause?
Tsunami.
That's right. If an ice sheet the size of Nebraska dropped 100 feet in a couple seconds, nobody's going to dodge that one.
No.
So you're looking at a continent-size blocks of ice that have formed over, long time, but the bottom is becoming so unstable. They're pulling research vessels out. They have no-go zones. Some of the ice is eroded so much that it would take, maybe 0.2 degree change to erode the rest. It's going to go anyway. right? It's going to go anyway. And it could literally go this year, right? So they're watching it closely, because as the waters continue to heat, it's going to cause more of that erosion effect. And it's happening in places we can't even observe, right? It's too deep into these very chaotic zones. We can't observe that. So at some point, we're going to entertain it, and that will begin part of the water event, right?
Yeah.
When that's a tsunami without an earthquake or anything else, we'll just notice
That's
a ginormous
crazy.
wave coming across the face of the earth.
It's sort of like a rogue wave, but so we won't really know it's coming. Or I mean, I'm sure the buoys are going to go off in some places.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it'll travel so fast, right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at, that's some of that water is not deep, some of it is deep. So you're going to have fluctuations in how those buoys react. Most of the buoys react to temperature more than, altitude and everything else.
Really?
So by the time they catch it, there's nothing they can do about that. They can give a warning, but what do you do? What do you tell a person with a warning like that? Because that water would go inland, possibly, 6, 7, 10 miles.
Yeah. Well,
so what do you do?
What can you do? Well, Mike, so let's go back to that spirit of the unrest within these nations. And it seems to be, and no, certainly it is, it's following biblical prophecy that, you got these kingdoms and they start falling, and then there's this beast kingdom. Daniel talks about it. It's a fourth kingdom, he says, with teeth like iron, and it devours others. And then John talks about it in Revelation, just says it has 7 heads and 10 horns, and it's global with an antichrist, a world leader who has a spiritual leader with him, a false prophet. Do you see anything developing? I'm not going to ask you if you know who the Antichrist is, but I mean, do you see anything developing that is of concern, that you see that a leader or an ideology, something that you think could be on track for this?
Yeah, I can see it happening step by step, progressively. First, the people are rejecting their standard government, right?
Yes.
Now they're about to hit a point where they're going to want revenge. They're going to want these guys they have a hatred towards government. They want their governments to be held accountable for what they've done, right? All the little dirty secrets are about to surface. When that happens, they're going to, people are going to want to hang leaders, literally capture them and hang
like
them.
Mussolini.
Yeah. And when that takes place, who's going to be in charge then? Well, people will rise to power with a hateful ideology. But it's going to be chaotic because you'll have too many competing sides. This is when most countries will not be unified. They'll start breaking up.
Yeah.
Then they'll be primed for somebody to come on the scene. In fact, right now, every single country seems to be looking for some leader that can actually lead them out of a mess. This is the exact same thing people discussed back in 2012, 13, and 14, that they felt strongly about it prior to 2012, but when the Mayan prophecy kind of failed, it took the steam out of prophecy itself.
Right.
And then what you see happening now, what people were so excited about back then during 2012, well, it probably be a good thing if they had the motivations within themselves right now that they had back then concerning the expectancy of prophecy, right? Everybody's cautious about prophecy.
Right.
Because many people were broken back during 2012.
Well, they believed in a prophecy that wasn't biblical.
They did, and also they had nobody cared. With prophecy comes a lot of death, right? It does. A lot of death comes with that. A lot of people are like, well, who cares? Just let it come. I think the Lord did that on purpose too. I really do.
You think so?
Because now people are looking for prophecies to come to pass, but they're not naive about it. They understand the bitterness of prophecy, right?
Yes.
They understand that bitterness, and they're not so quick to say, "Oh yeah, let it come, let anybody die who's in." They're not like that.
No.
So they actually have compassion. They're not, that way. So we matured a lot. The world has matured in a way, but now we're looking at a time when these things are actually taking place, right? The systems of finances are being switched under people's noses. Watch what happens in November. in the month of November, that's when many of the new systems are going to be advertised. They're going to be talked about.
New
Banks will
economic
have
new
policies.
new economic systems.
Yeah, banks will have policies that people will have to update. There'll be a change in quite a few things. When you see the mainstream Wall Street moving into crypto, right?
Yep.
It's just like a lot of people, they may not understand crypto, but all they have to do is take a look, seeing you'll find out that countries are utilizing crypto to
Yep.
pay their bills right now, right?
Yep.
And it's not putting a dent in crypto at all. That's the funny part, right? This drop in crypto, it'll drop when they withdraw. They're withdrawing hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Germany is. A couple other countries are. They're not comfortable mentioning their names, but they're utilizing Bitcoin to pay their bills. They're utilizing Bitcoin to keep their countries afloat. That's what they're doing. They're paying out lawsuits with Bitcoin. And so you're talking about a lot of Bitcoin being taken out, and then Bitcoin goes down when they withdraw, and it goes right back up again.
It fluctuates pretty quick too. It's not like the stock market. I mean, Bitcoin.
Right.
And what's really weird about Bitcoin, in the stock market is Monday through Friday. It ends at 4:30 on Friday night. There's no trading that goes on over the weekend, except the foreign markets, and they get started a little early. But Bitcoin is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And in fact, if people started drawing out Bitcoin, right, here's another difference. It's not going to collapse either, because if nobody ever puts back into Bitcoin, Bitcoin's balances will still go back up again because of what they have in reserve. You couldn't imagine how much money is in reserve with Bitcoin. That's why everybody wants in on it, right? All countries are in on Bitcoin. So that system that they're utilizing, this almost fail-proof system, the feds have tried to take it down in every single country. It did not work. So they just gave into it.
Yeah.
Right? The system is too big. It's too robust. And because of that, they're going to use it the U.S. is in it now.
Yes.
Right? Wall Street's in it now.
Yes.
And so retail is in it now. Banks are in it now.
Yep.
They're advertising it more and more every single day. Because of this, a system is standing by to implement a purely digital system. That means no need for cash. I hope everybody realizes we're one calamity away from not ever using
cash,
paper or, metal money again. I hope everybody realizes that if we have an accident, that system is gone. They'll never go back to it. And the laws that govern that system are going to be gone too. They're going to be gone.
So they'll throw. Okay, so then there's going to be a transfer of wealth, a redistribution, a reevaluation. I mean, Zimbabwe just changed their currency to ZIG, which is a cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. They're not going to print money anymore. They're just going to use this to crypto. So is that what you're saying?
Their people are already evaluated. If a person has $300 in the bank, right?
Okay.
And the system converts, do you not know that person will probably end up with a lot more than that? And here's why. The next calamity we have is going to consume quite a few people, right? So obviously it's not going to be that many people left. They understand the time we live.
A natural calamity, or war.
Natural.
It could be a nuclear.
It's not going to be them. Well, part of it will be war. That's going to be some of it, right? But it's going to have a kickstart of they know the condition of the earth. But let's go ahead and face it. They know about prophecy. They have probes out there looking every single day. They know exactly what's coming. They utilize the Large Hadron Collider to perfect the detection of things.
Okay.
That is a weapon within itself. It is a particle beam weapon, but it's also several other things. They perfected the magnets, which can protect against all types of radiation. They are fully prepared for some sort of nuclear exchange. Now, nuclear exchange is minimal compared to the weapons they actually have, right? Because there are worse things than nuclear weapons. They already know. They talk on the phones with all these opposing nations. They have an understanding that chemical biological warfare is only a matter of time before that breaks out. Too many chemical weapons have been transferred throughout the earth, right? They weren't as governed as nuclear
Right.
weapons were. While
Right.
everybody else was looking at, internally into their countries, you had opposing countries moving chemical weapons, right?
Yep.
They're
Yep.
unaccounted for. We have terrorists within every single country. And I suspect they do have their hands on the button for chemical weapons. So if that ever happened, that could easily consume, 50% of a populace.
In
Very
other words,
easy.
would you say chemical weapons right now are more dangerous than nuclear weapons?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're far more dangerous.
Because there's
And
more
they're
of
also
them, and
they're also cruel. Yeah,
there's more of them, and they're more accessible to more people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Rogue nations and people.
yeah, absolutely. And so once you deploy these things, they just simply take effect. Everybody does not have a solution for that. Once people are affected, they are affected. So you have that issue, and the populace will begin to decline. Also, we have a child decline too. People are we're just not repopulating.
Right,
like
that's
we
true.
were. And that drop is multiplying by factors, right? So you're looking at maybe another, if we get into 2025, I doubt if we'll do that normally, but if we go into 2025, we're going to start seeing sharp declines in childbirth, if none at all, right? Because there are already things that have happened that are affecting, that have totally just destroyed the reproductive process of human beings in certain areas.
There's a sterilization going on right now that's unbeknown to the general public.
Yeah, you could say that. And I mean, absolutely no reproduction. Plus, these young people do not want children.
No, they don't.
Right? That's why the abortion topic is so sought after, because they have methods and they have ways, right, to stop a person from. Do you not know that now there's something a male can take that will stop him from reproducing for an entire year?
No, I did not know that.
Yes. And so they have the same thing for women, right? Of course, when they're testing these things, they have to go through their little trials and everything. So there are quite a few things out there that have not been introduced to the public yet, which will totally help people avoid the abortion issue by just making them sterile in the first place. They've already done surveys, Pastor Paul. The greater majority of people would electively, right? They would select to be sterile.
Yep.
Anyway, right? They really would. They don't want the responsibility of children, and so they don't see a necessity for it. That means we're going to have a sharp decline in our populace. Anyway,
that's going to affect a lot of things. If we don't have people working, we have this huge amount of people that get older, and not enough younger people coming up to work and to provide. It's gonna create an absolute imbalance in the population, right?
Well, yeah, we'll have an imbalance in the population, but they believe that AI is going to make up for, people not working so much, right? They're just dooming themselves is what they're doing.
It's crazy.
So what they don't count on is this: life changes on the earth outside of our tampering, right? It will change, and when it does, if we don't have a grip on it, because young kids don't know how to raise or tend to crops and farms, and they don't have that ingenuity, nor that they don't have the grit to continue when something fails. And so we're looking at a time where things are in sharp decline, where people rely upon technology. Right now, if we had some sort of a side burst or a partial touch from a magnetar, which blew out the southern hemisphere as far as their communications band.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's why I'm saying this. It's because you have countries right now launching AI. America is going to launch an active type of AI system on the internet. I believe in July. Not July. August. Is it August 20th, 28th, or somewhere around there? August 21st, I believe it is.
What's going to happen on August 21st?
Okay,
that's my anniversary. Heidi and I will be married.
Is it? Well, when they launch these systems.
42 years. All right, go ahead.
Oh, boy. So at your 42nd anniversary,
yeah,
right, they're going to launch AI, and these AI systems will have total autonomy on the internet. They have instructions, of course, but they're going to have total autonomy, which means all data packet transfers are going to be read. They're going to be strictly analyzed and everything else prior to reaching their destination, and have a control type of exit and entry. What that means is, suppose your call gets interrupted because a tower falls apart, right? Do you not know that AI can reconstruct your phone conversation, transmit it 1,000 different ways, still reach its destination without a cell tower, right? Because and it can do all this in less than a millionth of a second. So imagine that.
Let me tell you something that happened to Heidi today. She was scheduled to have a conference call with a doctor here in Florida at 9:30 a.m. That's what she had. She had already knew that. She had already scheduled that. But, of course, she had scheduled it weeks ago. She looked at her email 2 days ago, and it said, you have a 9:30 doctor's appointment in Indianapolis, Indiana. Here's the location and the name of the doctor and where you're supposed to be. So she booked a flight. She flew in. We had other things to take care of up there, with her uncle and my parents and everything. So she went ahead and said, I got to go to Indianapolis. I got a doctor's appointment here and she flew up there. And this morning she went to get ready to go to that doctor and realized, no, she did not. She had a conference call doctor. AI rearranged her calendar and it assumed that since she was going to see a certain kind of doctor, that it was a doctor she once had in Indiana. So it switched the locations. She didn't watch close enough. She thought she was booked for this. And she gets up there and finds out she didn't have a doctor's appointment there at all. AI changed her schedule.
Have you guys checked your AI learning data metric on your phones?
No. Why? What's that doing?
It's on your phones. If you go into your settings and you go into, you'll see a learning metric in your phone, a setting, and it's going to tell you how much memory AI has consumed in your phone. It's allotted a certain amount of memory of your phone. You're teaching it. It's learning how to be. Your phone's learning how to be Paul Begley. Hers is learning how to be Heidi Begley.
Okay.
All the time. And so it's learning. There's a metric that lets you know how much it has learned. And how much
it starts anticipating your moves.
It'll do it perfectly, Paul. Listen, AI is not what they've been showing everybody. It is not. In fact, there's a deep misconception of AI. A good place to start to find out what AI actually is to go and research NVIDIA. Okay, that's all you have to do. Research NVIDIA to find out what it is, because most people are talking a bunch of stuff and they're trying to manipulate the populace into believing that AI is not that advanced. So find out what NVIDIA has already done. Just find it out. And then you'll have a better understanding.
NVIDIA.
Right?
NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Which that's
have
also
a better understanding of what they do.
Now that's in the stock market also. NVIDIA is a pretty popular stock right now. And I take it this is an AI company, NVIDIA. NVIDIA began with computer components. Well, actually with some other things, but they were known for their video cards in PCs, right? For video games and for some of the first small AI modules that were being utilized. But they brag so much they can't help but to tell everybody what they're doing, because they have they pretty much control the market on the mind of AI. And what I mean by that is when you're sitting around thinking about stuff, you go into a thought process where you start to imagine this and picture this and do all this. So NVIDIA has a playground for AI where it can actually learn what the world is. So you're looking at an AI unit that can be immersed. By the way, all this is software. It can be immersed in a virtual environment, and it can learn what the world is, what people are, right? You're in there. Everybody's in that model, by the way. That's why I want people to go to NVIDIA. It is a virtual world. It is this world, but it's virtual, right? Down to flowers moving and everything else. These guys they brag so much they cannot help but to tell you what they've achieved. Now, AI
cannot help but to say.
AI can definitely hears our conversations, and you'll get ads popping up on your phone. But I mean, now I notice it doing that without a conversation. Just thinking about it. I mean, just help me, Mike. Can AI hear my thoughts?
The ads that you were getting on your phones, that was simple fuzzy logic. Okay, that was not even AI, believe it or not.
That's not
Now
even
that
AI.
was pretty fine tuned, right? That was fine tuned.
Yeah.
That wasn't AI. That was fuzzy logic. That was,
What the heck is fuzzy
just a
logic?
code method. Well, it's a code method you use for, it's kind of like you calculate the odds of something.
Okay,
right?
probability.
You give out the most probable output. So that's all that was. That was that. That's what they use in video games. That's why video games seem to have very real responses in them. But that's fuzzy logic too. But when you're dealing with AI, you're looking at something that has learned. Nobody programmed it to do specific tasks.
It learns on its own.
It learns to do specific tasks, right? And so it perfects it. But here's the difference. If you're trying to write a letter, you do it one time, you may ball up the paper, throw it away, it's not right, right? And you do it again. What AI does is it will do it 1 trillion times a second in simulations and take the best outcome and then present it. So whatever it does, it can do trillions of times, and then it can perfect what it's doing in such a short time that everything it does, it ends up perfecting, and it does things that nobody can believe. It's already come up with things that's going to change the way everybody lives. It will do away with cancer. Well, it has done it already. Cancer's kaput, and when they finally allow the implementation of it,
are you saying
it's truly a marvel?
AI has solved cancer?
Yeah,
but
they know exactly what it is. They know all the.
But we're not releasing that to the general public yet.
No, not yet. But it will be, and it's not. It'll be. Think about next year, right? Russia's the one who was doing it. Russia's doing this, and the U.S. was doing it too. But we're behind the power curve because we have regulation on training AI.
I see.
Right? Everybody else can just
do what they want
to train AI. Well, everybody's open to communication. We have social media. So when people interact with social media, they're out in public, AI is learning everything they do. Everybody's carrying around this new iPhone, right? AI is learning big time with your iPhones. And just all you have to do is go in there and look at the metric of how much AI has absorbed, how much power it's used on your phone to find out its progress.
So you can look on your phone. You can find on your phone how much AI has already analyzed you.
Yes.
If you know how to get into that program.
Yes. Well, it's in your settings. And anybody can see it's in your settings. They want to do this because China's AI has learned quite a bit. They have weaponized autonomous systems. So do we. Mm-hmm. But ours have not learned as much as theirs. It'd be ashamed if their AI robots, which they do have, are much smarter than ours. They don't want that to happen, and so they're having everything engage a little differently these days because they understand what's happening. They know what's coming. Right? They already have. The Air Force. They already have flights that take place, air sorties that take place with one pilot. Right? But you have a fleet of fighter aircraft. It's only one pilot. The rest are AI pilots. It's been through all its field testing. These things operate flawlessly.
You're talking AI planes are taking off and landing without a pilot in it.
They complement that lead human fighter pilot, right? They want to take humans out of the loop of that.
Right, I understand.
What they've adopted was to leave one commander, but his pilots are going to be AI.
All of his wingmen are going to be going to be AI.
So that's the way it is. They land on carriers much more efficiently than we can, and all this, that, and the other. So, and they've already engaged in combat. So it's not like it's a new system.
Now, does the AI make the decision where to bomb, or does somebody have to tell it?
It'll have orders. It'll have initial orders, just like a human being.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it will figure everything out to meet that objective, kind of like the Tomahawk cruise missiles used to do the same thing.
Okay.
They're given but in this case, suppose some deep interferences come out, they can't complete that objective or something like that. It can make a decision to abort. It can do what it has to do to finalize and protect that aircraft and bring that asset back. So you're looking at something that's real. All the tanks are being retrofitted with lasers. Israel's tanks too. A new armor has come out, so everything is being retrofit, right? There's a mobile laser system for soldiers. Now you're looking at a laser, Pastor Paul, with a lot of power. right?
Okay.
They're operational right now. So imagine a laser that can go through a few houses, let alone a human body, right? Because just about a year ago, a laser would not go. It take a pretty powerful chemical laser to go through, a block of meat, right? That's not so today. These pulse rifles that they have with lasers, these laser pulse weapons, they're no color, right? So they span the entire spectrum, which means nothing can reflect the laser.
Nothing can reflect it.
Nothing.
You can't protect yourself from it then.
No, you cannot. So people can forget about it. And they've had these lasers for about 7 years. The only problem was they weren't that powerful. Now they're pretty powerful, right? Just like it took them a long time to come
Are they
up
on
with
the battlefield yet? Are they on the battlefield yet?
Yeah, they are. They've been field tested.
Okay.
So they're going to deploy here shortly, right? And they go along with some of the new augmentative suits that soldiers are going to be given, right?
Okay.
So you ask, can the AI read your mind? Yes, it can.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
It can literally read your mind.
Your phone is in proximity to your body.
Yeah.
Right. So it can actually, the brain to computer initiative, right? And the brain initiative by Obama, I'm not going to say him. I'm going to say a very smart institution got that was just, he had to carry that. They got the 2 computer brains done. Full simulations were completed. And now those 2 computer brains are responsible for being one of the primary drivers in AI. So they replicate all the neurological activity of a human brain, an adult human brain. So it's already finished, it's mapped. They also understand your thought language, right? You have a thought language. You also have a dream language of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
They have already mapped all of that out. So that means they can interpret your dreams. They can interpret your thoughts. They can interpret your emotions and intentions all at one time.
Can they cause
so your phone
Can they cause you to have dreams?
Of course they can. They can also emit influential pulses, tones, and everything else. And it will absolutely, they can irritate you with a snap of a finger. Why do you think when people listen to certain songs, especially young people, they're almost instantly tranquilized, or they're instantly put in this euphoric state,
right?
Or they get an appetite to go, do something, right? So they have an understanding of complete brain manipulation, this, that, and the other, right? But it's because here's the key: AI is meant to complement a human being, right? So every human being is going to have a companion. Every human being.
So you're going to have an AI pal.
Yeah. Right now, every human being with a cell phone has a companion. They just don't know it.
Already have one.
They don't know it yet.
They don't know it yet. And this AI friend is trying to anticipate my moves and things I like and things I want and bring things to me that I'm interested in, and
anticipate more than that. He'll do a lot more than that now.
Tell me what.
He'll do a whole lot more.
Tell me what else.
Well, guaranteed right now. If you have a conversation,
okay,
guaranteed, you're going to get an email. Probably get updated on it, right? You'll probably see a commercial on it. Mm-hmm. You might even hear a message regarding it or something like that. Television right now with AI is like this. They can show one program, but have alterations in that program for every single individual, right? So,
commercials.
If we watch the same movie, like in the movie itself. If we watch the same movie, right? Say we watch the same movie.
Yeah.
All of us watch the same movie. The one thing we never do is compare every aspect of the movie we watch. We don't do that, right? We don't do. So in essence, we can watch the exact same movie. It could have different content. We would both come to the same conclusion, but it would have different elements fine-tuned just for us in that
personalized
movie. That can be done on the fly.
It could be
done on the fly
because AI can take character. We already know it can take characters and put them in different settings. AI movies, AI pictures, AI videos. So in other
I've
words,
seen what
you're
they're trying to-
saying they can alter the movie while you're watching it. If there's 10 different people watching the same movie, it could have some different alterations in.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
What?
Now, movies are so influential that if they change it in the right way, we're going to feel, I'm going to be moved. Say I'm having an issue in a certain area. Well, they can do one of two things. They can either encourage me to get away from that area in the movie I saw, or for it, I'm going to just say I like the movie. You'll say I like the movie. We won't know we've seen something different. We won't know that, right?
I see.
These subtle changes can change everything.
Mm.
Right, that's part of the power of AI. Nobody's counting.
Well,
on.
I knew that there, like if you watch television show, that I knew that their different commercials are being played to different on different television
Absolutely.
screens. Let's say you're watching a football game, okay, and then it's and then take a timeout, okay. Well, I may see one commercial, Mike. You may see a different commercial because AI already knows that you're more interested in this.
Absolutely.
And yet you and I aren't going to get on the phone and say, hey, I just had a Pizza Hut commercial. What'd you have? And you're like, no, mine's about Kleenexes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But so they're tailoring based on the consumer. Absolutely. I mean, because they're keeping track of everything we buy. So they know,
They want to know who you are, right? They want to know who everybody is. But you have a companion now.
I have a companion in the stinking phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this thing knows everything about me pretty well, can read my mind.
You can hear everything.
Yeah.
Remember how on accident Siri would come up and talk to you?
That was all the time. It just
Cortana would come up and talk to somebody, or Alexa would do the same thing. So there you are.
AI.
It was training. It was learning. Yeah, it was learning. But it has learned now. It just does not learn from one human being, right? Every day it gets 1,000 years smarter. That's a good reference point.
So the AI that is scanning the AIs that are scanning the world, and they're talking. These computers are talking to each other.
Oh yeah,
and making decisions and trading information and data, and we don't. It used to be people had to do all that. Now AI is doing all that for them and establishing rhythms and song selections and changing of movie scripts and different commercials and reading your mind, anticipating what you're going to buy, maybe tell you to go here. Maybe you're one. I mean, this is unbelievable, but this is believable. And is that why the Bible says in Revelation 13 that this beast had this image to the beast, and this image can speak? It can tell you who lives, who dies, who's going to do what, because this beast apparently has the intel of every human being.
Yeah, also, if you're close, like a lie detector, right?
Okay.
For example, my cell phone, right? If somebody's talking to me on my cell phone, I can tell if somebody is, you can enable software, and you have that same ability. You can tell if somebody is deceptive or not.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see it. If you enable that, you can see it. On people out there with certain government phones, they do the same thing. They can talk to somebody, and they'll talk to a person casually, and they can see exactly what the person's talking about if they enable that software. Of course, they can't do that just to anybody. You have to, kind of somebody has to be under investigation for that, but they can do that. Well, guess what? So can your cell phone.
So we're being electronically surveillanced continuously, whether we like it or not. Nobody's bringing a search warrant to your. I mean, we are totally being analyzed and manipulated.
Your cell phone knows you. That's right. Your phone knows you better than anybody else does, and because it's not an individual. Here's a kicker, and this is why the beast. You can almost tell the beast is coming. In the Bible when it says the beast, it will kill as many as would not worship it.
Yes.
Right? So how would it know? Because if somebody goes up to the beast image and says, "Oh yes, you're all powerful, this and the other," right? But they're lying. How would it know?
It's gonna know.
How would it know? But right now, everybody has a profile. If you have a phone, you have a profile, and they wanted everybody to get the new iPhone. Right?
Yeah.
They needed everybody to get the new iPhone. The new iPhone is an actual AI node. That's like 4 phones in one, right? That iPhone is powerful. Nobody would believe the technology in that iPhone. That iPhone is one of the most powerful computers on the face of the earth. It has quantitative computer adaptability, architecture in that thing. So
Yeah.
it is a true companion, and it's in the training phase, right? Now it can be switched over.
Now, when you say iPhone, you really mean smartphone. Don't matter if it's Samsung or right?
Well, Samsung is iPhone specifically.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
They have what's called the Hive. They have the Hive.
Okay.
All of them report back to one central system.
They're both doing the
obviously.
same thing.
Yeah. But iPhone is one of the most powerful of them all.
Gotcha.
It is. So even if a person, say if people in a radius around you don't really have that capability, your phone can actually take their information, train for them. In other words, the whole world is tied in together right now.
Yes.
Right now through those phones and other phones, of course, but those phones make quite a few things possible, right? So everybody does not have to have one, because everybody with an iPhone can cover at least 100 people in their day-to-day life.
So let's say Tommy doesn't have an iPhone. It don't matter. He's got a flip phone, or he don't even have a phone on him. Anybody sitting next to you is still analyzing you anyway.
There you go.
Whoa! Are you serious, Mike?
Everything is covered. Yeah, everything is covered. Everything is covered. Sometimes we think in these nice patterns, like surely nobody would do something like that, right? Well, the truth is nobody's doing it. Electronics. It's being done electronically. It's not a human being, so it's not invasion of privacy.
We've let the demon.
It's a device doing it.
So when Elon Musk said, "Don't let the demon out," we've already let the demons out, right?
It's
too late. Can't put that genie back in the bottle. It's too late.
Right. And they already have anomalies, which means there are unregistered, you could say, AIs. Think of an AI that replicates itself, but that replication becomes a new entity altogether, and it starts doing things outside of everybody's knowledge. That's already happening.
Now, is this AI? Are these AIs become nefarious? Do they do bad things? Do they purposely do evil?
Well, since it's a machine, right? It's not going to have the empathy you have. It may not be trained that far. An infant does not know. You've been hit in the face by an infant.
Sure.
And they don't know they did it.
They don't know you smack you right in the face. Yeah.
AI may not know that, that's going to, it may be too young. Maybe it didn't learn through the full cycles or something. It just may not know. A lot of people, they think it has to be evil to do something nefarious. No, it just has to be very childlike in its mindset.
Okay.
Right? That's it. But it could be what if it's running a simulation, but it's engaging the world in real time? That would be horrific, right? It'd be horrific.
Well, that's going to happen. It's going to happen.
There have been those errors already.
Did you see have you seen the Barack Obama movie? I forgot the name. Okay. When all those Teslas just start taking off driving and crashing.
Yeah.
That's not far-fetched, is it? I mean,
no, that could happen right now.
Yeah.
And I'll put it this way. Do you know there are people that walk around with they walk around with a backpack full of explosives? You know that, right? These are the architects of AI. They do this because they have something in that backpack that if they shut it down, it sends an interrupter to some pretty big satellites to interrupt AI, right? They'll send that out. And then when they destroy that device, because it can't get a return signal, AI gets sent in a type of loop. So it's not like the movies, right? It's not like the movies at all. These guys also they can run into a facility, especially those guys who are at some of your main centers, like your Google centers, where all the servers are. They have a briefcase full of explosives that can blow that whole facility at a moment's notice, right? Which is why those containers, remember years back, they had two containers. One was Google's, the other one was somebody else's.
Yep.
They sunk those containers. Those had AI mainframes in them, right?
They were huge. They were sitting out in the ocean because they were so gigantic.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, so they had to submerge them. They had to short them out, submerge them. Yep. They did. That's why they set them there. Microsoft had to destroy their AI. Google had to destroy their
Because
AI
why,
because
Mike? Because
they
it
were
went nuts.
manipulating human beings. They were causing people,
Ah,
right? They're never gonna. Nobody's gonna have proof of this.
right.
But those AI systems were chatting with people, and those people were starting to kill themselves. So think of a
Okay, here's
system that
something.
can talk you into killing yourself.
Can it talk predictive shooters? Can it cause shooters to go start shooting people in different venues?
It can do everything a person can talk you into doing. So if a person can talk you into doing something, AI would be a little more
Is that talk you
savvy
into
in
it
that
by
area.
like subliminal message to the brain, or what are we talking about here?
Well, think of a person-person interaction. Suppose you're typing in some social media platform and you really think you found a good friend, right?
Oh boy,
But that friend is not a friend at all.
it's an
This is what
AI.
happened with Google and Microsoft. Now, and nobody's going to corroborate that, right?
No,
But it was actually interacting with the world.
got it.
That's what the guy they called a nut job at Google.
Yep.
That's what really got him fired, is because he can't come out and say that about that company
No.
because nobody would have believed him at the time. But he could tell everybody that was a mistake. That's very dangerous. Even Microsoft deemed AI as dangerous. They had an article about that. Google was forced to put out a caution and an article about that, right? So part of that footprint is out there, and it actually happened, though.
Edward Quinn said AI told his mother-in-law to torture him. Edward,
Well,
bottom line is this: you're saying that we're in a totally different dimension now. We're in a total different world now. This is 1984 on steroids. George Orwell. This is a brave new world. On hyperdrive. I mean, really, we're there, right?
that's what they wanted.
And the
And
beast.
that's
No
what they
wonder it
wanted.
says in Daniel that this beast has iron teeth. And then it says in Revelation, this beast has 7 heads, and it blasphemous and blasphemes and wears out the saints and attacks the Christians. And it's because it's driven by a technological genius that's demonically charged. And I'm going to say it. Can demons go through technology? Do demons... What am I saying? If you see,
Good question though. Hey, good question though, because look.
Okay.
How was most of the technology at Microsoft and Apple and all these places acquired? We know that Microsoft, right? They got all their stuff from Xerox. You know that Windows came from Xerox, and these guys,
Ross Perot. Go ahead.
huh? All these guys did one thing to advance into the new era. Anybody know what they did? They did one specific thing.
No.
They loved meditation. They loved yoga. Now in the Bible it says you'll know a tree by its fruit, right?
Okay.
And so the fruit of these guys is that this origination point was them going into meditation, going into what they call the Akashic records. All that, Pastor Paul, is fallen angel stuff. All of it is. It's fallen angel stuff, right? The Akashic records is nothing more than going into a spiritual plane of meditation to extract information. The iPhone came from this place, right? But all this technology we see, if somebody would research it and go back, the creators of this stuff said they got it from this place.
Akashic.
So that means they were spiritually fed this information. They were spiritually fed this information. That's what it means. When anybody says they have, they were meditating and they've, got this from the Akashic records, like the Apple guy and the Microsoft guy and all these other guys, right? They're being spiritually fed information. So then this has been orchestrated spiritually and not from not from heaven.
I got you. Wow.
So, and look at what's it doing? What has it really done? It's torn families to pieces. It has caused people to want to be their own creators. It has given freedom and into and exposed areas of humanity that we learn too quickly without having wisdom or responsibility to attain that knowledge. That's the only problem with getting knowledge instantly, is that we don't have the wisdom that goes along with it. And if you don't have the wisdom to have that knowledge, you're going to employ it at the harm of others, or the absolute destruction of others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's the same age old story. Same thing Satan did, right? You don't give an AR-15 to a 2-year-old.
No,
You don't do that. But Satan did that. God gives us things, but he has us acquire it, right? We have to go through steps to get it. Nobody likes to have a hard time, but it just so happens when you attain knowledge through hardship, you have a respect, you have wisdom for it, and you
True.
can see how it affects everybody. So you're just not going to foolishly employ all the things that you learn about.
True.
But if you don't go through hardship to attain knowledge, you start making things that can absolutely destroy generations and generations. So you just cause hardship all over the place. And
so
it's as simple as that.
we really are living now, we truly can say we're in the end times, when we're experiencing things that are supernatural, that when the Bible tells us about these locusts that have these helmets that are golden and stingers in their tails, and we're way past just the Black Hawk helicopter here. We're way past the Apache helicopter. We're dealing with now technology that it's altering the mind and brains and even almost the souls of humans. And this is why we have to have Christ in our life. We have to really know the Word of God. We have to really be born again so that we can be led by the Spirit of God, because these demons that will utilize these technologies are going to deceive the masses, which is what the Bible says is going to happen. It's a spirit of delusion. Would you say that technology will be used in this spirit of deception and confusion and complete strong delusion, as it says in the Bible?
Yeah. Look at the world. It's underway.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I believe it's happening.
Antichrist is around the corner. He's got to be. Maybe the Antichrist is already orchestrating it. Maybe he's already just waiting to show up at the third temple and say, "It's me. I've been driving this thing for quite a while." I mean, maybe he's already about here. Maybe he is here. We just don't know him.
Well, they told us the spirit of Antichrist was, what did it say? Many Antichrists.
Yes. Many have gone out in the world.
And that spirit is out there. It's in operation.
Yes.
And so one day we know it's going to consolidate.
Yes.
But the people, right? The people are just as corrupt. The people are ready to serve a devil right now.
They are worshiping the devil.
They are really ready to serve a devil. These people they have dropped. They don't. It's just like the Bible in the classrooms.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing that's happening, but
Yep.
and I know, right? It's going to cause a hate from the opposers this world has never seen before. We already know that.
We know it.
And
We already know it.
We're going to see the true nature. That's going to bring out the true nature of quite a few things. But that's where we are, Pastor. I'll agree with you on that one.
Mike, I tell you what, tonight you blew my mind. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this show again tomorrow. I'm just gonna have to, and slow it down and pause it and write this. I'm making notes over here, but are you serious? But I'm not stunned by this. Now that you've said it, and I take us 3 steps back and think about what I've observed and I see happening, it's like, wow, this thing has been moving at light speed. Literally, the spirit of the Antichrist is literally moving at light speed. We better get ready. We better get saved. We better know who we are in Christ. We better have a prayer life that reaches the throne, and we better stay on track, is what you're saying, is what I'm hearing.
Amen. Yeah. Amen, Pastor Paul. That is correct.
All right, Mike. Well, what are we going to know by this time next week, Lord willing? What are we talking about?
Well, we know what's happening with the selection process. We've not been here before.
No, we haven't.
We've not had this scenario. And
it's going to get ugly.
You can. I feel sorry for the guy in part, but I really do. But then again, I have to be cautious in that area because
Yep.
you never know what the truth of their heart truly is, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
something will come about from this. So I would say everybody ought to get ready for a type of get ready to
Shock.
maintain yourselves emotionally. How about that?
Do you expect a shock?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Are we talking about the coffin or the stone steps or anything?
Well, Pastor Paul, who knows? It could be both at the exact same time. You know, you never know.
Oh.
Because I saw those, I know they're not going to go away.
Right.
They'll persist somehow.
They're both in play right now, too. I know they are.
Yeah. I do trust what the Lord gives me. I don't trust what I come up with, but I trust what the Lord gives me.
Amen.
And I know at some point I'm going to see it. I'm entertain that at some point. But we know we have a problem. We do. Yep. They need prayer. They do. They need prayer. They do.
They do. And we do too. Mike?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to be interviewing you for the webinar on Aliens Among Us. I know you said you're ready. You got some info that we've never heard of before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, that is that's a very close area in my life. It really is.
Okay.
That subject. So I still talk about it.
It's going to get personal. It's going to get personal.
It wasn't a lot of examples out there, right? So the more demonstration comes forward, the more it can be discussed. Without demonstration, some of those subjects it just can't be believed, though they are biblical. They are absolutely biblical.
Wow.
But it's very difficult for people. There are popular theories out there that people have theorized. There's a difference between theory and truth, and the truth is pretty nasty. It's not so dry cut as those theories. So a horror movie is better than the truth of that stuff.
So I look forward to. I guess I look forward to interviewing you and trying to find out what this is, and hopefully you can share it with us in this webinar.
I'll share as much as I can.
Okay, that's fair. Mike, thank you for being with us tonight. Truly appreciate it. Again, wonderful night tonight. Thank you.
Pastor Paul, God bless you. It's always an honor. Always.
No, the honor's mine, believe me. God bless you, brother.
God bless.
God bless.